Baby, to have your eyes. I'm going against my own advice. Should I tell New York? I can't decide. Fashion week is more your thing than mine. I can't even mind. I'd rather stay inside. It takes some finesse. I've seen you finesse. She can't do finesse. Oh.
Yo, Bash, you been tripping on them hoes.
Burn Live, y'all. Marijuana keeping y'all connected. Hashtagging these red eyes, changing the viewers' eye red. Keeping underage smoking off social media. Now y'all get to see a wider view of the place today. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world. Y'all could have watched any other podcast that you watched, but you decided to tune in with me. I appreciate it. Welcome to another Burn Live show. Like I said, with Marijuana, we bring you the news, facts, receipts. Try to have a good time with you. Enjoy an hour of a good show, hour and a half, depending on how good articles and stories are. Hope you got your blunts, your bongs, your weed, your dabs, your concentrates, your wax, whatever you need to sit back and enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, the last few nights has been beautiful with the audience. I appreciate everybody coming through, stopping by. The comments have been getting better and better and greater, and I appreciate that. I just want to take the time out and put that out there. I do appreciate that. Today in news, a lot of little craziness has been going on. It's weird that we're finna talk about the destruction of Juneteenth. It's a holiday for us, and we're losing out on a lot of destruction around. Like, it's so crazy, it's so weird, it's so like, what are we getting into? But unfortunately, these are the things that we do be seeing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, before we get off into everything, I think I'll be losing some of my audience because they don't be seeing me dab and smoke just as much as I normally do. A lot of people like, you don't take this away from actually being a marijuana podcast. I'm like, it's still a marijuana podcast. Cheers, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that notification. Click that notification. Hit that bell to get any notifications anytime that I go live. I go live for an hour and a half around this time every day. I appreciate it. Please share. Please let everybody know it's going down. You know, I appreciate it, man. I really do appreciate it. You know, if it wasn't for y'all coming through, wouldn't know what to really do. So I'm gonna just say it like this without a further ado. Let's get into some news. It's going to be some weird news. It's going to be some crazy news, but let's get into this.
It's 3 mass shootings. Police say 1 person is dead and 22 others hurt after gunfire erupted during a Juneteenth celebration outside of Chicago. And 1 person was killed and 9 others injured overnight in downtown St. Louis. The victims ranging in age from 19 to 15 years old. Here's ABC's Alex Perche.
In a year that's already seen more mass shootings than days, at least 3 more overnight. In Willowbrook, Illinois, police say at least 23 people were shot at a Juneteenth celebration in a strip mall parking lot overnight.
400 people outside, female screaming, report of gunshots.
1 person killed, others injured, fleeing the gunfire.
We just started heard a shoot before we had us, so we dropped down.
It was chaos.
Police say they don't know how many suspects they're looking for or how many firearms were used, and they're still investigating a motive.
It's kind of becoming something where it's like inescapable.
Active shooting at Ford Amphitheater. Not requesting any state assistance.
And in Washington state, authorities say at least 2 people were killed and another 2 injured after a gunman opened fire near the Beyond Wonderland Electronic Dance Music Festival overnight. The sheriff's department says the shooter walked the campgrounds firing randomly into the crowd.
But it's the white man's fault. TatumStore.com, TatumStore.com. And make sure you get the link in the description.
Now that was live action and being at one of these events at Juneteenth. You see how blurred out it is?
Why is it that we turn a blind eye to this stuff? Why is it that the media don't talk about these things? Why is it that we act like there's not a degenerate culture that affects Black people or Americans of African descent? But we go on and celebrate Juneteenth and we shame white people for it. But we should be focused on building our own community in a way that's sustainable and I would say profitable to our particular community, because everybody else is doing it, but we're not doing it. I'll just give you an example, and then I'm gonna move on. I was at the airport in St. Louis, the most ghetto airport I've ever seen in my life. What made St. Louis airport ghetto? The Black people that were in there being ghetto. People working at the Starbucks, dude working for the airlines, walking with his pants sagging. I mean, his whole butt is out, in uniform. Work for the airport, not the airlines, but the airport. And I'm like, really? Is this what we doing out here? Girls at the Starbucks being super ghetto, arguing, yelling, talking crazy, rude to people, bad attitude. And I'm just floored at the way we act and the way we present ourselves. It's like, how is it that we have a fluctuation?
I'm pretty. I'm glad he cool, calm, and collective. Cause normally he be hostile. Okay. I just want to show that little clip in the beginning. I thought it was gonna be deeper, but this transgender court thing that's been going on, this right here, is really more
Senator Kennedy.
Breaking news.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and
wow.
thanks to all of our witnesses here today. Ms. Robinson, I want to follow up by trying to understand your answer to one of Senator Cruz's questions. And if this is really a question, not a suggestion. Do I understand your position to be that there are two sexes, but there can be more than two genders?
I wouldn't even say two, and we've got Dr. Lopez here as well, but there's also the definition of intersex. I think that often in these conversations we're conflating sex and gender, and I do want to affirm here that trans women are women. That is their gender.
Okay, but I'm trying to understand. Do you make a distinction between sex and gender?
Yes, sir.
Okay, explain that. Just do you think there are more than two sexes?
I believe that there's a definition for intersex as well that I want to acknowledge. But sex is assigned at birth.
I'm just trying to understand. I'm thoroughly confused. So you're born, I'm talking about biology, male, female, and what else?
I believe that intersex is also acknowledged, but again, I'm not a doctor here. What I can
and
say
what does intersex mean?
Is that there's a difference between sex and gender, and I think in these conversations,
okay. In this situation, sorry, I got the hiccups. We're asking you about your profession. This is your profession, but then you're saying I'm not a profession in this question. So why isn't like, okay, I'm not a profession, but I know it's just two? Why is it just seeming that people do make, when it comes to these legal court cases or whatever this legal hearings, that people make it so more difficult than the situation needs to be? That is so weird and confusing. I was just like, and it's a lot. It's not just her. This is just like the first time or the second time that I'm actually gonna bring it up because it's highly vivid that you're gonna see it.
we're conflating the two.
Well, but I want to start with sex. Okay, there's male, there's female. when a baby's born, before the baby has had time to even have a sense of self, there's male, female, and intersex. There's a third sex.
I believe that is true, but I would defer to Dr. Lopez as I'm not a physician.
Okay. And how many genders are there?
I think the gender is expansive and the definitions are always growing. Today I can tell you, I
More
talk
than
to young
five?
people
More
that
than,
talk about non-binary as
more than 5?
I think the gender is not a binary is what I'm trying
But
to say.
are there more than 5 genders? I'm just trying to understand. Are there more than 5 genders?
Well, I mean, I think that there was a time where women wearing pants didn't feel like it was appropriate for their gender, and yet I'm wearing pants today.
Are there, if
I
you
think
could
that there are
just
ways
answer
that
my
we
question.
express
Are
our
there
gender
more
that
than
are
5
expansive.
genders? Are there more than 5?
I wouldn't subject myself to naming how many genders there are, but what I can say is
there
that
an
gender is a
infinite number?
reflection. Excuse me?
There's an infinite number of genders?
I think depending on your culture, there are a lot of different genders that exist. And I can also say that it's a term that's evolving. If you look at young people today, they really don't lean into the binary of only woman and man. So I think that it's incumbent upon us not to legislate on this, but create space for them to explore what their identities are, what their gender identities are.
This is dangerous. When you let people explore, when you can't explain simple things, and like I said, y'all, this is a hearing. Like I said, I apologize. This is a hearing. Ooh, I got bad hiccup. In these hearings, this is how laws are made. This is how bills are passed. Okay, this is the start. Where you're at hearings, you have so-called professions come out and talk and speak and generalize a situation.
Let's get back to athletics. I think I understand what you're saying. There are 3 sexes, male, female, and intersex.
I believe that to be true, but again, I'm not a physician.
And there are an infinite number of genders because gender is a mental state.
Gender is about expression, and I think that there are a variety of ways that you can express your gender.
Okay, so there's infinite number. All right, let's go back to the biology. Male, female, boy, girl. Okay, biologically, do males have an advantage over females biologically in sports?
Again, I'm not a physician, and I can't speak to that.
What's your real world experience?
It depends. I mean, there are some people who are born male that I'm faster than if I were to sprint against them, and some that I'm not. Some males that are taller than some women, and some that are shorter.
That a biological male has a physical advantage in sports over a biological female?
Not as a definitive statement.
Give me an example. Well, no, I don't think. How many female members of the NBA do you see?
Well, I can say that, there's been this news article about men that think that they could beat Serena Williams in tennis, right? That they think that they could actually score a point on her. And it's just not the case. She is stronger than that.
What's your experience, Ben? Male, female.
Stronger. That part right there I heard earlier, and she was like they're stronger. It's not about stronger. In that case where Serena Williams plays against men, amateurs, she's more skillful than they are. Okay? Skills. Understandable, y'all. But Serena, and I'm gonna go to the like that really want me to go to the article because dude brought it up in Black Conservative. He actually brought up the article where he shows it where he shows the article where they talk about it, and like, where is it? Let me find it. Let me find it for y'all. I know y'all can barely hear the music in the background. I do know that. So I just got to find this video because definitely explains a lot better. And give y'all a prime example. Actually, I think this is it too. I don't have to actually go to there.
Why do women's sports exist? If you can't define a difference between women and men, why not abolish women's sports and just tell little girls to swim with little boys and see who wins?
Oh, I'm simply saying that that sex is
My
different
question,
than gender.
why
and I do
do-
believe
why
that
do
women's
women's
sports
sports
have a great
exist?
value. I mean, Senator, I'll tell you right
Ms.
now.
Robinson, please answer the question I'm asking.
Yeah. See, let me go find the right one. Let me just go find the right one. So y'all don't get confused. Matter of fact, let me just go to his. Here it is. I'm just let him break it down. Because if
And
this is
Durbin, Ranking Member Graham, and members of the committee. My name is Kelly Robinson. I use she, her pronouns. I'm proud to serve as president of the Human Rights Campaign, our nation's largest civil rights organization working to achieve full equality for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer people across the country. Thank you for inviting me to submit testimony at this important hearing. On behalf of HRC's more than 3 million members and supporters, I've come here today with a single message. The LGBTQ plus people of the United States are living in a state of emergency.
All right, guys. So there's a whole lot of congressional hearings going on today. And the one that I want to talk about in this video is the congressional hearing on LGBTQ civil rights in this country. Okay. Again, I don't know why they're having this hearing because there's no civil right that LGBTQ people don't already have in this country. Okay. And none of their rights are being taken away. But regardless, they're having this hearing. Okay. Because allegedly, according to Kelly Robinson, who is the woke president of the Human Rights Campaign, they're under attack, right? They're under attack every single day.
On behalf of HRC's more than 3 million members and supporters, I've come here today with a single message. The LGBTQ plus people of the United States are living in a state of emergency. This is not an exaggeration. This is not a dramatization. More than 525 anti-LGBTQ plus bills have been introduced this year in the states. More than 220 of those bills target the transgender community, many targeting children, transgender children. And more than 75 of those anti-LGBTQ plus bills have now become law. We're sitting here 7 years since the Pulse nightclub shooting where 49 lives were stolen, and just over 7 months since the shooting at Club Q that stole 5 lives from the community. This uptick of violence is real, and you've said it already. 1 in 5 of every hate crime is motivated by anti-LGBTQ plus bias. The other reality that we know is true is that these bad bills targeting the community are often accompanied by campaigns of misinformation and lies that sow fear and transphobia in communities. The very fact that we can't identify Leah Thomas as a transgender woman is playing into the fear and anxiety that's motivating these hate crimes. I talk to people every day. I talk to pediatricians that are being escorted to their cars by armed guards because of the bomb threats that they're receiving. I talk to drag queens who are being confronted by Proud Boys with AR-15s outside of drag queen story hours. This epidemic is real and requires action, both legislative and also cultural, in stopping this ability for people to just spout lies about our community.
Yeah, so you've seen that, you heard that. Now, if you are opposed to any of those bills, okay, if you say that, hey, you know what, this is not fair. We need to protect women in women's sports. We don't need kids castrating themselves, okay? We don't need that, okay? This is something that we probably shouldn't be doing in our society. You're going to get called some type of bigot, just like Riley Gaines laid out during her congressional testimony.
This has been your experience over and over and over. You're told as a woman, just shut up, don't say anything. What's that like?
That is continually happening. And if we do speak up, you're immediately labeled as some name. They will call you everything under the sun, whether it's transphobic, homophobic, racist, white supremacist, domestic terrorist. They will throw them all at you in hopes to deter you, in hopes to silence you. Leah Thomas's teammates, they were forced every single week to go to mandatory LGBTQ education meetings to learn about how just by being cisgender, they were oppressing Leah Thomas. They were told that they're not allowed to take a stance because their school has already taken their stance for them. They were told that you will never get a job, you will never get into grad school, you will lose your friends, you will lose your scholarship and playing time if you speak out. They told these girls that if you do speak out and any harm whatsoever comes towards Thomas's way, whether that's through social media, whether that's physical, mental, emotional harm, then you are solely responsible, and you could be responsible for a potential death. And you don't want that, do you? Of course not. Who would ever want to be responsible in a potential death? But that is the emotional blackmail that is plaguing this country, especially in universities.
Facts. Facts. I mean, that's exactly what happens. Okay. If you disagree with the woke extremists, then you're labeled some type of bigot. Okay. You're told that you're doing harm to people and that, you know, you're causing people their lives, that basically you are a murderer. You're responsible for people deleting themselves, right? Which is just, it's just blackmail, right? They're trying to blackmail you into going along with the far left woke agenda. Meanwhile, Kelly Robinson, who is the president of the Human Rights Campaign, she can't even define the difference between men and women.
All right, let's go back to the biology. Male, female, boy, girl. Okay. Biologically, do males have an advantage over females biologically in sports?
Again, I'm not a physician and I can't speak to that.
What's your real world experience?
It depends. I mean, there are some people who are born male that I'm faster than if I were to sprint against them, and some that I'm not. Some males that are taller than some women, and some that are shorter.
That a biological male has a physical advantage in sports over a biological female?
Not as a definitive statement.
Give me an example. Well, no, I don't think. How many female members of the NBA do you see?
Well, I can say that, you know, there's been this news article about men that think that they could beat Serena Williams in tennis, right? That they think that they could actually score a point on her. And it's just not the case. She is stronger than that.
What's your experience, Ben? Male, female?
Both Serena and Venus lost to the 203rd ranked male tennis player, which they're phenoms for women. My experience, my husband, he swam at University of Kentucky as well. In terms of accolades and in terms of national ranking, I was a much better swimmer than him. He could kick my butt any day of the week without trying.
Okay. I just think, Ms. Robinson, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. I think you lose a lot of credibility when you don't concede that a biological male has physical advantages over a biological female. I mean, I just think that's a proven fact, and you really hurt your credibility. I understand you want the world to be a better place. I do too, and I don't think people ought to be discriminated against because of an immutable characteristic. I don't. And I think that I think everybody ought to be free to be themselves. And what you do in your bedroom or what I do in my bedroom with a consenting adult is nobody's business. But if what I do in my bedroom with a consenting adult, if I decide I want to tell somebody's child about it, then other people have rights too. And I think parents have rights. And I think biological females have rights to be able to compete fairly in sport, in sports. So I really think you hurt your credibility when you refuse to acknowledge that biological males have an advantage over biological females. It kind of makes me wonder about all your testimony. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Kennedy. I'm sorry, go ahead.
What I'm trying to say is that there is not a definitive advantage in all cases. Sir, I don't know if you believe that you could beat Serena Williams in tennis, but I probably think that that's not the case. There are not all cases where all men are physically superior to all women. And at the end of the day, in this conversation, we're not talking about that. We're talking about trans women who are, in fact, women, who deserve to play in a gender that matches their sports, who deserve all the benefits that Ms. Gaines is talking about. And as a cisgender Black woman, I can say definitively that my womanhood is not threatened by a transgender person asserting hers as well.
Yeah, that person's an idiot, right? That person is an absolute idiot, okay? Because they're trying to play this semantics game where she's saying, well, I don't think that all men, okay, including 60, 70-year-old men who clearly age has caught up with them, could beat somebody like Serena Williams in tennis, okay? And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, when you're talking about very old men who've gotten so old that they can't move because of their age, yeah, they're not going to beat somebody like Serena Williams, but a vast majority of men that are of healthy age do have a physical advantage, a significant physical advantage. That's important. A significant genetically ordained physical advantage over somebody like Serena Williams. And with the proper training, okay, they probably could end up beating Serena Williams in tennis without being nearly as, I guess, decorated, right, or accomplished against people of the same sex as somebody like Serena Williams. In fact, Serena Williams actually, again, lost to a 200 and some ranked male back when I think she was a teenager. So when she was in her physical prime, right? This was like 1998. She was in her physical prime. She lost to a man, and it wasn't even close. Okay. In fact, the guy that she played was Karsten Brost. Okay. And he was ranked 203 at the time in the world. He beat Serena 6-1 and beat Venus 6-2, right? So he basically whooped both of them, whooped both of the Williams sisters. And she also went on late night television and admitted that she would get embarrassed if she played Andy Murray, because men and women's tennis is different, because men are physically stronger and faster than women. Therefore, it's basically a whole different game. Take a look.
Well, who would it be?
Well, I don't know. Let's say you
Okay.
would be the.
I was hoping you'd say.
All right, feminine side, and me.
And you. Oh. Well, actually, it's funny because Andy Murray, he was been joking about myself and him playing a match, and I'm like, Andy, seriously, like, are you kidding me? Because for me, tennis and men's tennis and women's tennis are completely almost two separate sports. So I'm like, if I were to play Andy Murray, I would lose 6-0, 6-0, and 5 to 6 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, because it's true. It's true.
Honestly,
It's a completely different sport. The men are a lot faster, and they serve harder, they hit hard. It's just a different game. And I love to play women's tennis, and I only want to play girls because I don't want to be embarrassed. I would not do the tour. I wouldn't do Billie Jean any justice. So Andy, stop it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let you kill me.
I'm with you when it comes to tennis. I only want to play girls.
Yeah.
We got that going on.
Yeah. So apparently the woke activist hasn't even listened to Serena or asked Serena on her opinion about whether or not she can actually compete with men's tennis players, because she knows, right? Serena Williams knows, yeah, if I played men, I would get destroyed, right? I'm not physically equipped to compete with men in this sport. It is what it is. That's not a bad thing. That's just acknowledging reality, the reality of biological sex, which is what this woke activist does not want to acknowledge, right? She doesn't want to acknowledge reality, okay? And that's why she ended up getting destroyed by Riley Gaines, because this woman didn't even know that Serena admitted that, yeah, men would dominate me, right? Men tennis players would dominate me. I don't even want to get embarrassed. So I'm not even going to play, right? Again, it's just funny how that works. Now, again, if the average man tried to play Serena, if they were untrained, then yeah, Serena would probably defeat that man, because she has more training and more skill, okay? But I feel like if the average man actually trained with a professional, at the very least, they could probably be competitive with Serena, okay? They might not necessarily outright beat her, but you got to understand, Serena Williams is the genetically elite of the genetically elite, okay?
I just want to show this and the craziness that we had to put up with. And like my cousin said, y'all, they gonna end up winning. They're gonna end up winning. I ain't seen her do a show in a while. Hell no.
So you're trans.
Yeah.
Ron DeSantis is running for president.
Yeah, he's an awful person. I think Ron DeSantis is a fascist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Healthy heaping of lube.
Yeah, so if you keep going down, do you see what that is a picture of?
Is that an armpit? What is it?
No, that's
I'm assuming.
close. So these are the types of books that Ron DeSantis is trying to ban.
Okay, I see where you're going. So you're really a Ron DeSantis. We're done.
Worry is not an adequate expression of how fearful I am of the possibility of him becoming president of the United States for many, many reasons.
Ron Disaster has no chance of becoming president of these United States because he has shown his color. We don't need to know what he's going to do. He has shown us.
We're in Florida. We know what's going on with Ron DeSantis, and he's chosen to run for president. We're letting everybody we talk to today, if you have something you want to say to Ron DeSantis or have any opinions to voters out there, please share them with our audience.
Yes, Ron, you need to learn to spread kindness and not hate and be accepting of everyone, all voters. You're not going to get these voters because you're spreading hate and creating bigotry that's unnecessary. We need to put the right people in office. And I'm sorry, Ron DeSantis is not it.
Who do you think would be the right person?
I'm still researching all of the candidates and I haven't narrowed it down just yet.
Do you think Biden would be a good option, just keeping him in going forward for the next 4 years?
Much better than Trump or Ron DeSantis, I can say that.
Yes. So you mentioned Ron DeSantis's hate and bigotry. Can you give me examples of those things that he's displayed?
Don't say gay in school. The ban on different books is ridiculous. Like, I feel that if a parent doesn't want their child to read certain books, they can tell the librarian, don't let my child check out this book.
Right.
But don't squash the, First Amendment right of speech.
Right. So I'm actually glad that you mentioned the book banning, because I feel very, very, very strongly about that. And I was wondering, I kind of want to make like a little montage of people here reading the books that he wants to ban. Kind of like a way of saying, like, you're not going to silence us. We have a First Amendment right to read that. Would you be willing to take like one page of one of the books that he banned? You can hold my phone and read what it says.
Oh, I can't see it. I can't see the words. After the train has left the station, so to speak, and you've had a chance to wash up, what? Does that say? Wash up your douche back there. You can have an load of fun with a healthy heaping of lube.
Yeah, so if you keep going down, do you see what that is a picture of?
Is that an armpit? What is it?
No, that's
I'm assuming.
Close. Yeah, so these are some of the books that he wants to ban. Do you see that?
Yeah. But these aren't the particular books I was talking about. A lot of them were mandatory reads in our literature classes in middle school.
Do you think something like this is appropriate to be in a kid's school? Pictures of penises and instructions on how to masturbate?
No, not in school particularly.
Okay. So these are the types of books that Ron DeSantis is trying to ban.
Okay, I see where you're going. So you're...
But see, we got you. We got you, bitch. You have already started reading. Y'all heard her read that nasty filthiness. I was just really setting it up until she got into that nasty, filthy reticate is in schools. This is what we talk about with the grooming and the sports. All this is really, unfortunately, together as one. It's really as one. It's really one. It's really one. It's one weird jester to deal with, ladies and gentlemen. And we really sitting up here dealing with this. Now, if you want your kids reading pornographic books, that picture, you see what that lady said? What is that? Is that an armpit? Huh? She thought an armpit or a little girl vagina was in that picture. And I wish I had the book. I don't have the book. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't have the book. But you'll see where it's going. And you see that she admitted, like, nah, that book shouldn't be in schools. Those not the books I'm just talking about banning. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if we're not talking about pornographic books that are technically been banned, we're not talking about black races, about black slave books. We're talking about pornographic books that are in pages. Finally got my shit rolled. I just wanted to cut it off. I just wanted y'all to really get a whole big surrounding. That's why I played all of these videos. I played the black girl really defending the LGBTQ community in sports, because sports is school, grooming is school, book banning all has to do with school. So yes, all this for once, I'm all had one big show that all has one big ass topic. Oh, hold on. I got my little push button over here, y'all. But like I said, and like that lady just saw, she done trip.
Really, a Ron DeSantis. We're done.
It's just
You're spinning it. You're coming like you're against Ron DeSantis, and now
I just let you have the floor. Well, these are the books that he wants to ban. I just wanted to know if you're okay with those being in schools. She brought up the book banning, not me. And so I had her read some of the books that Ron DeSantis does not want in schools. And she was uncomfortable continuing to read them from me. And then she walked away. So very first person we talked to, happy Pride, everybody. So you're trans.
Yeah.
Ron DeSantis is running for president.
Yeah, he's an awful person. He's an absolutely awful person who is vindictive, and he has personal vendettas, and he uses his political office to achieve his personal vendettas. And I think that's absolutely, like, he gets mad at Disney for going against his rule, his law, saying that they think that it should be repealed, and then he takes a personal vendetta and uses it against Disney to attack them. So yes, he does use his political office and his power for his own personal gain.
Okay. Yeah. So what personal vendetta and what's the drama with Disney? Can you break it down for me?
The drama with Disney, as far as I understand it, is that Disney said that Ron DeSantis passed the Don't Say Gay bill, and Disney said that it shouldn't have been passed.
Okay, right.
And as soon as they said that, Ron DeSantis immediately starts using his office to start taking rights away from Disney, start trying to reincorporate or take away their land rights and all of that.
Ron DeSantis is our governor, and he has decided to run for president. Yeah. And we're letting people here today tell our audience across the country what's the truth about Ron DeSantis and why he would or wouldn't make a good president.
I just feel like the struggle I have with him is that he's very one-sided, very individual-minded, and very old-school-minded in this, like, he just doesn't accept anybody that's different in any way. And I feel like a lot of people, like, yes, it's easy to be like, oh yeah, well, he doesn't accept LGBT, but he has so many problems with so many people, including even women. Like, if you are a woman, how can you vote for him?
What do you think voters should consider as a Floridian?
First of all, I really don't think he's going to. I think Trump is a lot more popular, and I really do. I really think, even though I personally do not like Trump, I think that Trump has the backing. I think that Trump has way more of a backing than DeSantis. So I'm really not technically worried about him getting the nomination unless Trump can't run.
Okay. It's amazing. It's amazing. Even though I'm shocked when I heard people that are against Trump actually speak still civilized. And that's all it is. And I told another person the other day, if you don't like somebody, it doesn't matter. You can still speak civilized. You still can actually advocate for a thing. I heard about this story earlier.
Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
This is 7 at 7 from the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Good evening. I'm Jen Ah. Thanks for joining us on 7 at 7 in Top Stories, sponsored by Nevada Hand Silver Sky Assisted Living Community. Learn more at nevadahand.org. North Las Vegas police are investigating what led up to 3 teens getting shot, one of them dying at the scene. They say it happened on Centennial Parkway and Commerce Street. A 19-year-old died. Another 19-year-old who was injured ran away, but was later tracked down at a house and taken to the hospital. Anyone with info can call Crime Stoppers to remain anonymous. And yesterday's massive fire near the Rhodes Ranch neighborhood that turned several partially completed buildings under construction into a smoldering wreckage is now a complete loss. We're getting video after video from viewers who witnessed the plumes of smoke and bright orange inferno while driving, even from miles away. Clark County Fire Assistant Chief says crews have to tear this down, that the flames damaged around $200 million worth of construction. There's no saving it. However, crews were able to save a planned clubhouse valued at around $10 million. Now to the latest numbers from officials on Lake Mead over Father's Day weekend. They're reporting 6 deaths, 3 of them killed in a multiple car accident and 2 drowned. The good news is visitation is strong with water levels being up, but 23 people had to be rescued by park rangers, and they want to highlight safety, considerate behavior, and visitors who witness criminal activity, including assault, theft, or drug use, to call Park Dispatch. And it's official, Little Ethiopia since Tuesday is Clark County's first cultural district. Review Journal's Renee Summerhour has more.
Project Chair Gurma Zed said thank you repeatedly and bowed after county commissioners voted on a resolution to formalize the district.
The motion it passes, and we have now created a Little Ethiopia.
The designation will, quote, help preserve and celebrate the culture, commerce, food, celebration, and religion of an estimated 40,000 Ethiopian immigrants who have made Clark County their home. The proclamation arrived nearly 4 years after efforts kicked off to declare the area located between Twain and University Avenues near Decatur Boulevard a cultural strip most common in cities like Los Angeles and New York City. There are more than 50 Ethiopian businesses within Clark County, including at least 17 restaurants. A large concentration of them fall within the district. Proponents hope that the procedures serve as an outline for future cultural districts.
In weather, sponsored by Star Nursery, your garden's partner for every blooming thing. Get ready for a hot night still in the 90s. Temps won't fall to the 80s until a few hours later, then 70s after midnight with a few clouds. Onto your rising 7-day.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if y'all want to come to Vegas, y'all see what type of weather we
forecast.
dealing with.
On Thursday, clouds linger with a high of 96 and low of 69 degrees. Along with around
I should start doing this, especially this part. I mean, if I got people that watch and be like, oh man, at least I should start throwing in the weather somewhere up in my show. That'll be dope. You know what I'm saying? Just a little quick little YouTube part, throwing a little weather up in here. Look at that stuff. But if you know, now you know.
mile-per-hour gusts. On Friday, the skies clear up and the winds taper off. A warm front starting on Saturday. From Sunday through the next work week, take a look at those triple-digit highs. In Business, sponsored by Bank of Nevada, Bank on Accountability, encouraging responsible gaming to gamblers. An international organization turns to a UNLV expert to help gaming industry operators and regulators. The International Gaming Standards Association's board of directors says the UNLV International Gaming Institute's Alan Feldman will be part of this new committee, which will offer regulators and operators a quantifiable, responsible gaming model. Speaking of Nevada regulators, the state approves the first 3 marijuana lounges, including 2 in Clark County. Planet 13 and Thrive Cannabis Marketplace received conditional licenses. They must receive approval through their local jurisdictions and undergo final inspection before opening.
Sports brought to you by Station Casinos STN Sports. Download the app today. The Aces continued their winning ways on Wednesday afternoon with a 99-79 road victory over the Phoenix Mercury. Las Vegas shot 55.4% from the field, the fifth best single game output in the WNBA this season. Jackie Young was virtually unstoppable, banking 5 of 7 3-pointers, a career high for the Aces guard. Young led.
There's a video out. I seen it a while back, maybe a month and a half. That's saying that the Aces might do a three-peat. Like they might win back to back to back. It's gonna be amazing. That's what Vegas is gonna need to bring to pull that NBA. And I bet you, and I guarantee that the fan base here in Las Vegas is probably one of the highest for its people show ups.
Led all scorers with 23 points. Meanwhile, Asia Wilson recorded the 61st double-double of her career and the 7th of the season with 20 points and 12 rebounds.
In Health, sponsored by Boulder City Hospital. We're here for you when you need us. It's all to improve late 911 response times. Clark County is implementing a corrective action plan with 2 private companies. Ambulances must respond to 90% of 911 calls in under 12 minutes each month. But Medic West and AMR, owned by Colorado-based Global Medical Response, failed to do so, prompting some coverage areas to go to a competitor, Community Ambulance. Under the new plan, Clark County Fire can further redraw the coverage maps with a 30-day notice. AMR and Medic West also have to provide weekly staffing plans.
Sports betting brought to you by Las Vegas Paiute.
Interesting. I know if y'all call the ambulance, you better get out your stopwatches. You better get out your stopwatches. You better start. Ting. 13 minutes. You're late.
Tribal Smoke and Cigar Shop. Scotty Scheffler is the plus 630 favorite at Circus Sportsbook to win the Travelers Championship, which begins Thursday at TPC River Highlands outside of Hartford, Connecticut. Rory McIlroy is the second choice at plus 1050, followed by John Rahm at plus 1125 and Patrick Cantlay at 12-1. Wyndham Clark, who captured the U.S. Open last week, is one of 2 players listed at 47-1.
In entertainment, sponsored by Arizona Charlie's, has live entertainment every weekend at both locations. Go to ArizonaCharlies.com to see who's playing. To see the Golden Knights, Aviators, and those who served our country on July 4th, better head west. Summerlin's Patriotic Parade returns for its 29th year from 9 to 11 in the morning, beginning at Hill Point Road and Hill Center Drive. You can view over 70 entries, including 18 giant balloons and a 40-foot American Eagle. And is there light at the end of this dark tunnel? The characters Light and Darkness are back at Wynn Las Vegas for the show Awakening, starting June 30th. Some changes include faster pace with an emotional monologue and comedic elements. Social media is allowed with tickets starting at $99, less than half of the original price in November. Thank you for watching 7 at 7. The Las Vegas Review-Journal also produces a Spanish language newscast. Watch 7 at
Anytime Lauren Boebert talks, you know it's going to be some stupid stuff come out. But she got straight jacked by Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas. They had a guest who was talking about the ATF and issue with guns, and Boebert, being just the dumb person that she is, she showed us just really she is not the brightest bulb in the dark room. Play.
Would you say that this is an abuse of that separation of power? Because that rule is not something that Congress has delegated, but the ATF has taken it upon itself to regulate this rule that they created to make millions of Americans felons.
With respect, I was trying to answer your question before you interrupted me to say that the ATF had in each of these instances sufficient statutory authority from Congress, and that any challenges to that.
Ms. Katzen, it is my time. So Congress never authorized the ATF to ban pistol braces. Congress never authorized the ATF to do that, to make millions of Americans felons overnight. And so I would go back to your statement that you said in your testimony that these agencies are not free agencies and they can only do which Congress has delegated to them to do.
Congress is not
Ms. Katzen,
specific. Excuse me.
Thank you. My time. No, ma'am, it's my time. Thank you.
Oh, I'm
Ms.
sorry. So
Katzen,
you are not
in your
interested in
testimony-
my views.
It is my time. Thank you.
I'm
In your
sorry
testimony,
you're not interested in my
you
views.
stated Congress delegates, but then some officials are quick to condemn the agencies for.
Well, that was rude. That didn't sit too well with Jasmine Crockett. Here's the Texas Congresswoman.
This committee runs my pressure up. And I do come prepared to committee, and then there's always somebody from this side that does something ridiculous that throws me all the way off. So, oh, Jesus. Okay, so this is where we're gonna start, Ms. Kaskin. First of all, let me apologize because that was uncalled for. So let me do what she would never do, which is to be an adult in this room or in this chamber. So let me start there. I'm also going to start with some nonsense that she was trying to spew. And unlike Ms. Boebert, I am legally trained and I've passed a few bar exams. And I also legislated before I got here. So I do want to start with correcting the record a little bit. And if you want to add to that, please do. There was conversation about ATF because my colleagues love to talk about their guns, baby. And I'm from Texas. So let me be clear. I also own firearms. Let me scream. Democrats own guns too. Let me make it clear. I own guns and I'm licensed to carry. That is a regulation. Regulations aren't necessarily bad. It didn't stop me from being able to get a gun. So we were talking about, or y'all were talking about the ATF, which I wasn't going there. I didn't plan to go there. But you know what? I honestly wish the ATF would run amok because we know that seemingly the people that run this chamber don't have the courage to come up with one of the things we've heard is common sense regulations when it comes to guns. And to be clear, our Constitution, the Second Amendment, anticipates people having common sense. Unfortunately, we have not done that. And unfortunately, it has cost us lives. So when you were testifying a little bit earlier, you talked about unintended consequences and the fact that we are supposed to be able to anticipate that as lawmakers when we are writing laws. Unfortunately, not only have we ignored the unintended consequences, but we've got foreseeable consequences that are continually ignored. And that is why we are talking about regulation, at least on this side of the aisle. And our definition of common sense is one that doesn't keep us in the pockets of corporations, but keeps us in the pockets of the people. Because what I'm trying to do is save lives. My job isn't here to make sure that I'm pushing the bottom line for some corporation, but it's to make sure that the people that put me into this seat, which were actual people, individuals, to make sure that I can save lives. So let's talk about my state, because we always got good stuff coming out of Texas. Unfortunately, my state decided that it didn't want to be a part of the overall national grid because my state did not want to deal with all of the quote unquote red tape. The cost of that was lives. So we had this winter storm, and here it was, I was freshly being sworn into the Texas House, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do because I started getting calls because there is this thing called climate change. Hello, nobody's in the chamber on the other side, but climate change is this real thing. And so in Texas, we had this terrible storm that took place, and even though we are an energy capital, not just in this country, but in the world, for clean and dirty energy, unfortunately, we couldn't keep our own lights on. And it was all because they wanted to avoid red tape. You know what the cost of that was? It was human lives. And I think that that's what's being lost. You know what happened in Palestine or East Palestine? The cost was human lives. Unfortunately, seemingly, some people don't want to consider human lives as an actual cost. The only cost that they ever talk about is dollars. Well, let me be clear. I'm not here because of corporate dollars. I'm here because of people. And so I am curious to know, and I'm going to give you, and I usually run out of time. I'm going to be clear. I always run out of time because they always give me too much to do. But because of the way that you were treated, I am going to allow you the courtesy of expounding upon what it was that you were talking about with these agencies, which is pretty much what I understood, which is they only did what they were delegated to do, because if ATF could do more, I'm sure that we would actually get rid of the assault rifles that are constantly killing our babies every single day in this country. But go ahead, Ms. Kaskin, with the last 20 seconds.
Well, I appreciate your comments and I thank you for them.
That's how you gather somebody, Reese.
Martin 98. Y'all know this is the Martin Show, y'all. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Jasmine, or I should say, Congresswoman Crockett is here taking no prisoners. And I love her delivery. I love her style. But the fact of the matter is she has the receipts to back it up. And I love that she isn't always letting the Republicans set.
But yet again, I was feeling her too, y'all. I was too, until she said global warming, which everybody knows, except for Democrats, that is a hoax. Even billionaires to trillionaires, all billionaires, all trillionaires know that's a damn hoax. It's the biggest money grab hoax in the world. It's the easiest way to solidify you to put some money in your pockets. Just saying. Now, like she said, she's a Democrat in Texas, which is awesome. And I'm glad she got guns. Yeah, well, they be tripping. Yeah, I ain't gonna hold y'all tonight. Tonight was just more about videos. Tomorrow it's more about talking. I just got a lot of work to do. It's not over. I'm trying to improve this. I will be having a new program to run off of. I might do an early session tomorrow to do a practice run for a late night, just to see some things. And then after that, y'all, I'm going to catch y'all on the next show. I promise you. Okay? Peace.